Welcome, listener. Before we begin, let me ask you something gently. When was the last time you told the truth without softening it, without explaining it away, without trying to make it sound acceptable or strong? When was the last time you let yourself be honest without checking first whether it would be received, approved of, or understood? You don't have to answer out loud. You don't have to answer at all. Just notice what happens in your body when the question lands. Maybe a tightening, maybe a pause, maybe a quiet recognition. Because this story isn't asking you to confess or to open up before you're ready. It's simply inviting you to listen to what's already there, waiting to be acknowledged. And as you listen, you may begin to notice something unexpected. That vulnerability isn't a demand, it's a doorway. And when you get to decide when and how, you step through. There was a woman who had spent her life studying courage. Not the loud kind, not the cinematic kind, but the quiet courage that shows up in living rooms, in hard conversations, in the moment just before someone tells the truth without knowing how it would land. She had read the research. She had seen the data. She can tell you exactly how vulnerability worked in theory. But this story isn't about theory. It's about the moment when understanding something finally moves from the head into the body. Because that's where vulnerability actually lives. For a long time, she believed vulnerability was something you could manage. That if you prepared enough, if you were smart enough, if you stayed one step ahead of rejection, shame, or disappointment, you can be open without being exposed. You can share without being undone. But life has a way of interrupting those beliefs. Not dramatically, not all at once, usually quietly. It happened one ordinary day, a day without no warning signs, no dramatic build-up. She was asked a simple question by someone she trusted. Not invasive, not cruel, just honest. How are you, really? And in that moment, she felt it. That familiar tightening in her chest, that quick inventory of acceptable answers, the instinct to perform resilience, the urge to say, I'm fine, because fine is safe. Fine asks nothing of anyone. Fine keeps the peace. And she almost said it. But something inside her paused, not because she felt strong, but because she felt tired. Tired of the armor, tired of the rehearsed answers, tired of carrying the invisible weight of appearing okay. And in that pause, something remarkable happened. Her body spoke before fear could stop it. She said something true. Not polished, not dramatic, just real. And the world did not collapse. The room did not reject her. She did not lose belonging. Instead, there was space, a breath, a softening. Not because vulnerability guarantees connection, it doesn't, but because choosing vulnerability returns us to ourselves. This is something she came to understand deeply. Vulnerability is not about winning approval. It's about honoring truth. It is not oversharing. It is sharing with intention. It is not weakness. It is uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure, the birthplace of everything meaningful. Love, creativity, joy, belonging. None of these arrive without vulnerability opening the door. As she reflected on her life, she noticed something else. Every time she had truly felt alive, every time she had loved deeply, spoken honestly, created something meaningful, there had been risk. There had been no guarantees. There had been vulnerability. And every time she numbed herself to avoid pain, she had also numbed herself to joy. You cannot selectively shut down emotion. The armor that blocks heartbreak also blocks connection. So she began to practice something radical. She began to let herself be seen. Not by everyone, not all the time, but by the people and the moments that mattered. She learned that vulnerability without boundaries is not courage, but vulnerability with boundaries is strength. She learned that courage doesn't roar. Sometimes courage sounds like, "This is hard. I don't know. I need help. This matters to me. I'm afraid, and I'm showing up anyways." And something else changed. She stopped confusing vulnerability with inadequacy. She realized shame thrives in secrecy, silence, and judgment. But vulnerability, when met with empathy, loses its power to wound. Because shame cannot survive being spoken and met with compassion. And as you listen to the story now, you may notice something happening inside you. Not a demand to open, not pressure to share, just an invitation. An invitation to notice where you've been armoring, where you've been performing strength instead of practicing courage, where you've been waiting to feel ready before allowing yourself to be fully seen. And gently, without force, you might recognize this truth. You don't become brave and then act vulnerability. You act vulnerability, and bravery follows. The woman eventually understood something that changed everything. Belonging doesn't require perfection. Belonging requires presence. You don't earn connection by being flawless. You earn it by being real. And real is messy. Real is uncertain. Real is human. So when she felt fear rise, before a hard conversation, before sharing her work, before loving fully, she learned to say to herself, "I'm choosing courage over comfort, not because comfort is bad, but because comfort never changes a life." And now, as the story settles into you, you may notice your breath becoming slower, not because you're trying to relax, but because truth has a way of calming the nervous system. You may feel a quiet permission spreading through your chest, permission to be unfinished, permission to be human, permission to be seen at your own pace, in your own way. Because vulnerability is not a demand, it is an offering, and you get to choose when, where, and with whom you offer it. But when you do, you don't lose yourself. You come home. And perhaps, as you return from the story, you carry this knowing with you. You are not broken for feeling deeply. You are not weak for needing connection. You are not failing because you feel afraid. Fear is the companion of courage, and vulnerability, gentle, intentional, imperfect in vulnerability, is the most honest expression of strength there is. And you are already capable of it, just by being here. Now that the story has settled, you don't need to do anything special. There is nothing to achieve, nothing to fix, nothing to become. This is simply a moment to stay with what's already here. So allow your attention to rest right here where you are. Notice the surface supporting you, the chair, the bed, the couch beneath your body. Not in a technical way. Just notice that you are held. You don't have to hold yourself right now. And if your body shifts, or sighs, or adjusts, that's not distraction. That's communication. Let it happen. You may notice your breathing already changing. Not because you're controlling it, but because when the nervous system feels safer, the breath remembers how to soften. So simply notice the next inhale as it arrives, and notice the exhale as it leaves. Nothing to improve, nothing to deepen, just allowing. And with each breath out, you may find it a little easier to stop racing. There's a subtle difference between relaxation and release. Relaxation often feels like effort, something you're supposed to do correctly. Release happens when effort isn't required. And right now, release can begin by letting go of the idea that you need to be composed. You don't need to be strong here. You don't need to be insightful. You don't need to understand anything. You're allowed to just be human. As you continue breathing, bring your awareness gently to your shoulders. Not to change them, just to notice. Notice how much they've been carrying expectations, responsibility, self-control. And without forcing them to drop, you may notice they begin to lower on their own, as if your body realizes it's allowed to rest its armor. Now let your awareness move to the space between your eyes, that place that often holds effort, thinking, monitoring, anticipating. You don't have to stop thoughts. Just imagine you're no longer gripping them, like loosening your fingers around something you've been holding too tightly. Thoughts can come, thoughts can go. You don't need to follow them. And somewhere inside, you might notice a familiar habit, a habit of staying guarded, the habit of staying ready, the habit of keeping yourself slightly protected, even in quiet moments. You don't need to judge that habit. It developed for a reason. It helped you belong. It helped you cope. It helped you survive. And right now, you don't need to get rid of it. You're simply allowing it to rest. As if you're telling your system, you don't have to watch so closely right now. You don't have to be on alert. You don't have to prove anything. And as these messages settle, your body may respond first. A deeper exhale, a softer jaw, a slower heartbeat. Let those changes happen without commentary. Now imagine this. There's a version of you beneath all the armor. Not a better version, not a healed version. Just the truest one. the one that exists when no one is evaluating you, the one that doesn't need to perform resilience. And you don't need to see this version clearly. Just sense its presence. And as you sense it, notice something important. That part of you does not need to be forced open. It opens naturally when it feels safe. So instead of trying to be vulnerable, you allow safety to grow. And safety begins with permission. Permission to pause. Permission to not know. Permission to feel without explanation. And as permission settles in, you may notice that your breath becomes slower. Not intentionally, just naturally. And with each breath out, your nervous system receives a message. In this moment, I am not under threat. In this moment, I am allowed to rest. In this moment, I don't have to hide. Now bring your awareness gently to the center of your chest. Not to search for emotion, just to notice sensation. Warmth, pressure, movement, or maybe nothing at all. Whatever you notice is enough. And imagine that area softening, not opening wide, not exposing itself, just softening its edges, like something that's been clenched finally realizing it doesn't need to be. You may begin to feel heavier, or lighter, or simply quieter. All of those are signs that your nervous system is settling into a deeper rhythm. A rhythm that doesn't require vigilance. A rhythm that allows honesty to exist without danger. And if at any point your mind wanders or thoughts drift in, that's perfectly fine. Each time you notice, you can gently return to the sound of my voice. Let it carry you. You don't need to hold on. Now imagine this state, this softened, unguarded state, is not something you're creating. It's something you're remembering. Because before you learned to armor, your system knew how to feel safety. And that knowing has never left you. It's simply been waiting for moments like this to resurface. As you continue resting here, you may begin to sense that vulnerability is no longer a threat. It's simply openness with boundaries, presence without performance. And in this state, you don't need to decide when or how to be seen. That will come naturally later, in your own life, in your own time. For now, this is just practice. Practice being with yourself without judgment. Practice letting truth exist without explanation. Practice resting without armor. And as we move toward the end of this induction, you can allow yourself to drift even deeper, knowing that nothing is required of you. You are safe. You are allowed. You are enough exactly as you are in this moment. And you can stay here, listening, breathing, resting for as long as you need. So here are the key meanings of the story. Number 1. Vulnerability is courage, not weakness. The story reframes vulnerability as the willingness to be seen without guarantees. It shows that courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to remain present even when our outcomes are uncertain. Number 2. Armor protects, but it also isolates. Emotional armor develops as a form of self-protection, often learned through experience. While it helps us survive, the story reveals that armor can quickly block connection, belonging, and authenticity. Number 3. Belonging comes from authenticity, not perfection. True belonging does not require being impressive, composed, or emotionally controlled. It comes from allowing ourselves to be real, imperfect, and honest in safe, intentional ways. Number 3. Shame loses power when met with empathy. The story highlights how shame thrives in silence and secrecy, but softens when vulnerability is met with compassion. Speaking truth in safe places interrupts shame, holds on the nervous system. Number 5. Vulnerability requires boundaries. Being open does not mean oversharing or emotional exposure without care. The story emphasizes that healthy vulnerability includes discernment, choosing when, where, and with whom to be seen. Number 6. Numbing pain also numbs joy. Avoiding vulnerability to escape discomfort also does our capacity for connection, creativity, and joy. The story reveals that emotional aliveness requires openness. And number 7. The body learns safety through permission, not force. The hypnotic elements reflect the idea that openness happens naturally when the nervous system feels safe. Vulnerability cannot be demanded. It emerges through gentleness and permission. And as you continue resting in this space, carrying whatever softness feels right for you, know that you don't have to rush back into the world just yet. If the story supported you, if it helped you feel a little bit more seen, a little more settled in yourself, you're warmly invited to subscribe to this channel. Subscribing is a simple way to stay connected, to return to the stories like this whenever you need grounding, comfort, or a quiet place to come back to yourself. So take your time, breathe, and when you're ready, I'll be here. Until next time, be well.